We are killing our children. Our children are becoming sick and dependent on pharmaceuticals. They're having more incidents of cancer. Obesity is through the roof. Our kids psychologically and mentally are being fucked by these poisons in the foods, the dyes, the additives, the seed oils. The list goes on and on. I'm like, dude, this is a guy who really cares. Welcome back to another episode of the Unstoppable Mindset Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Michael Crane, and damn, we're fired up today. Trump won, the American people won, and we're fired the fuck up. Never a time in my life, maybe 9/11, but I was young during that time. Never a time in my life have I seen so many people unite and so much patriotism in the United States of America. I've seen a lot of demonstrations, a lot of marches, a lot of people in the streets waving flags from other countries. I've never seen in my life so many people inspired to be American and feel like we have a fight in front of us that we're all united in. This is the main thing. A lot of young people understand this message. A lot of older people don't. They've just been indoctrinated into a way of thinking and a belief system. It's very hard for them to change. You know, and I've seen it in my elders. They watch the news, they read the newspaper, they believe everything in those news outlets that they consume, and a lot of it is lies, man. And the younger people are catching on, and the older generation, though, it's hard for them to see it. It's hard for them to understand why we're so excited and fired up. But my age group, 10 years plus and 10 years below me, we're inspired, man. Never a time in my life have I seen politicians who speak truth, who don't seem scripted, who don't seem fake, phony actors, who promise one thing and don't change a damn thing. Like, we've seen it our whole lives. And then the media corroborates what they say. They lie to us, they manipulate us, all the while, like, we see things around us just changing for the worst. We see people becoming divided. We see our country eroding before us. People are fearful with the economy, you know, the deficit that we're in, these wars that are taking place, the civil unrest, you know, the racial tension. A lot of this stuff doesn't even exist. It doesn't. It's manufactured. And so anyway, this was a win for the people, man. I was so excited watching last night's election, seeing Trump pull ahead. And it just shows you that a lot of people are sick and tired of being lied. A lot of people are sick and tired of the way things have been done. You know, Trump won the electoral vote and the popular vote by around 6 million people. More people turned out to vote in record numbers in all these different states. And so I just kind of want to break down what I think and what I feel. First and foremost, no matter who won the election, I would have been in the fucking gym at 5 a.m. working out. I would have been up early in my personal development. I would have done the same stuff today that I do every day to build my life. I would have taken care of my family. I would have had a good attitude around them. I would have earned money. I would have changed lives. I would have worked on my physique. I would have stayed sober. Like, I have a daily blueprint that I live my life by regardless of what's taking place. I am tunnel vision and focused on this blueprint every day because that's how I've got ahead. That's how I built this life for me and my family. And that's the message to you guys. Like, a lot of people who are Democrats right now, they're fucking crying. The world's over. Oh my gosh. Like, dude, the president didn't build my life for me. No politician gave me a handout when I got out of prison. I had to build my life one decision at a time. You know, one relationship at a time, facing one fear at a time, overcoming one obstacle at a time, and I never stopped. Within each and every one of you is the ability to do the same. I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican, I don't care what's taking place in your life. You live in such an opportunistic time where you can create and build anything that you want. And don't let anyone try to fool you or tell you otherwise. This is the reason people got sick and tired of the current media and the Democratic Party, is they try to create these manufactured issues for you to be scared and worried about all the time. Meanwhile, a felon gets out of prison and just builds a badass life. That's me. I'm living the life I always dreamt of and prayed for. I didn't sit there and watch CNN all day and worry about who's president and freak out and let it emotionally affect me. Like, I'm emotionally unaffected. I'm focused on the things I can control. So a lot of people right now, they're in disarray, they're upset, they're going negative, they're being negative, they're pessimistic, and they're focusing on all the things outside of their control. Meanwhile, there's a million things right in front of you that you can do today to improve your life. Like a whole list. You can make a whole list of things that you can execute and do today, like read books, stay sober, be nice to people, work out, eat good food, drink water. Oh my gosh, get out in the sunshine, like go bless somebody. If you're all worried about your own shit today, go do something for somebody else. Be selfless. That's a really easy way to get out of your own ego and your own woes, right? Like go be of service to the world, man. That's my whole mission. But here's the truth. I've never seen a politician get on stage and talk about wanting to make America healthy. You see the shirt, RFK, Cali means, Casey means, they're out there doing God's work. Never before have I seen politicians speak like normal human beings. There was always a disconnect because it's scripted, it's fake. They're actors. They're taught to say a certain thing and act a certain way. Meanwhile, behind closed doors, they're way different. And the funny thing is, someone commented today on one of my Facebook posts and they go, yeah, I just can't get over all the bad stuff Donald Trump has said. Yeah, he said some things that were outlandish, but you know what the cool thing is? Dude, he'll say what he feels to your face and you'll know exactly what he's thinking. Meanwhile, the politicians that most people support that think are so great, they're saying worse shit behind your back. So if you had a friend, right, would you rather have a friend or a boss or an acquaintance who spoke the truth to you and told you like it was, or somebody that told you what you wanted to hear, but then behind closed doors was talking shit about you or scheming and conniving ways to get over on you? Like, come on. What if you had a girlfriend? And your girlfriend was always saying all the right stuff, and in public she was squeaky clean and dressed the part and played the part, and then behind closed doors she's fucking all your friends. Like, that's what the Democratic Party has done to people for years and years and years, and it finally caught up. Like, the coolest thing now is podcasting. Joe Rogan, like Patrick Bet-David. Dude, these guys are getting more views on their live broadcast and on their podcast than these major media outlets. CNN, Fox, CBS, NBC, they're going to go out of business. Like, they're in the business of getting sensational views. You know what I mean? Like, they'll put stuff on the news to get people to watch, even if it's fake and not true, versus tell you like it is and give you the facts. And that's why people are turning to podcasts, because they don't trust traditional media anymore. And Joe Rogan did an interview with Donald Trump. It got over 30 million views. CNN, NBC, all of those conglomerates and news outlets couldn't get that many views combined. They couldn't. So things are changing. Times are changing. I love it, man. I've never seen more people inspired and passionate. And this is the thing. People act like, oh my God, Trump is the next Hitler and he's getting this army of Nazis. And it couldn't be further from the truth. I've never seen more people with different skin color, different genders, men and women, different ages, young and old, coming together, uniting for a common cause. And all that we want is opportunity, right? We want to stop the chaos, stop the corruption. We want our kids to grow up in an America where they have a chance, where they're getting healthy food, where they're going to school and they're not being misled or confused. They're being taught the right things, right? Like, we want to grow up in safe communities where people are united, not divided. Like, it's not like we're asking for all this crazy outlandish change. We're asking that we grow up in communities and in a world that is run by morals and values and traditions. That's what keeps, things intact in this world. So I'm going to look over here real quick, and I want to see if anyone's commenting real quick on Instagram. Drop your comments below, you guys. I want to see who's tuning in. Morgan, I will. Here's the thing, Morgan, if you're still watching, I'm going to answer some questions real quick, because this is the truth. The older population, they don't get it. They're so brainwashed. And there's a term called psychological flexibility, meaning, you're okay to listen to other opinions and beliefs and even consider them to be right over yours. And if you're emotional, though, your vision and clarity and reasoning is clouded. Like, you can't make rational decisions if you're emotional. Think about someone who's completely emotionally distraught and screaming and crying. They don't have the ability to sit there and logically analyze something and make like a reasonable decision. They don't. They're acting impulsively, right? They're acting emotionally. And 9 times out of 10, they do things that they regret or that were out of character. Like, that's what happens when you get really drunk or, you get very angry. That's why emotional control and self-control is so important. So if you take into consideration politics, especially as someone who's polarizing like Donald Trump, it triggers the fuck out of people to the point where they will believe anything that they see on the media that's negative about him. And the media has contorted and twisted things around related to Donald Trump for the last 8 years, however long that they've demonized him. So you have all these people who are older, 40, 45 and above, who watch the news. They watch CNN habitually. They believe everything they see, and they don't realize that these news outlets are fed information, and they're there to sabotage Donald Trump and the Republican Party, and they're there to make the Democrats look squeaky clean and perfect like the number one candidate. Meanwhile, people are starting to catch on because all of a sudden, you have $10 and you can't buy shit at the store because that $10 used to get you some eggs and maybe some milk, and now it barely gets you, a carton of eggs. Examples like that, inflation, like the cost of goods, gas prices, like people are spread thin, they're stressed out, and they don't see any help in sight. And then, you just have promises that are broken over and over and over. And, people of color, let's just say that, minority groups, whatever you want to call them. I mean, let's just call it like it is. The black community, the Latino community, they're waking up. More Latino men came out and voted for Trump than Kamala Harris. The black community is moving away from the Democratic Party. Because I was watching something on Patrick Bet David yesterday, and this older gentleman saying, man, they've used us for years and years and years. They make us all these promises, so we vote for them. They haven't done shit for us. Like, people are sick and tired of the lies. But, a lot of people just have misinformed information about Donald Trump. And instead of looking at the facts and doing the research like I did before I voted, they just automatically come to a conclusion because their mom believes it, their older sister believes it, they saw it on CNN, oh, it must be true, this guy's horrible. And here's the crazy thing. So let's talk about a couple of the main arguments people have against Trump. Oh, he hates women. God, if he's president, it's going to be a bad time for our women. And that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, right? Like, you think because Trump's going to be president, all of a sudden people are going to start treating women differently and that's going to be acceptable in society? First of all, that's so irrational. You think someone's going to come to my house and fuck with my wife or daughter when I'm there? No way. Are they going to do it to your house? Why would you allow that, right? Are people going to suddenly start going out in society and just belittling women? That's the dumbest argument I've ever heard. Now, check this out. Trump is a family man, okay? He's around women all the time. He's made remarks about women in the past, most notably Rosie O'Donnell and others, right? But then you have the other party, and no one's talking about this. You have Kamala Harris, who got Cardi B on stage to try to endorse her. So she paid her money because Cardi B has a following, and they're trying to buy those votes. You have a woman getting on stage who looks and acts like a stripper and who wrote the song WAP. Do you know what WAP stands for? Wet ass pussy? That's the most fucking embarrassing thing that I've ever seen from a woman. To allow a woman to put that music out and then to look at her as an example for younger women is delusional. And you, a presidential candidate, you're going to put her on stage and try to buy people's votes saying that she's a good person and then demonize Donald Trump saying that he's he hates women and he's negative towards women and he's going to have a bad effect on women. You're essentially putting a stripper on stage who wrote a filthy song. You want your daughters to be like her and act like her? I don't even want my daughters to know who that woman is. Like, that's just one example. Another example, and this is hilarious. People say, oh, Donald Trump inherited his money. Like his dad gave him all his money. And so let's get the facts straight, right? Donald Trump took a loan from his dad for $1 million. Now, he grew up in a wealthy household where he saw what it was like to make money. He had the right mindset around business. But 99% of you watching and listening to this, and the 99% of the people in America, if I gave you $1 million today, you'd spend it all and you wouldn't know how to make more money with it. And that's just the facts. Like, think about it. If I gave you $1 million right now, what would you do to double it in the next year? How would you turn that million into 2 million? Right? So they use this on the media all the time. They're like, oh, Donald Trump inherited all his wealth and it was just given to him. The guy turned $1 million into over $1 billion empire. Most people could not do that. And there's so much delusion when it comes to the way people think. This, again, comes down to when you're emotional, you don't have reasoning. You don't have the ability to reason and think logically or analytically. I know what it takes to build a business. I know what it's like to be an entrepreneur. I know how fucking hard it is to turn nothing into something over time, okay? So for most of you listening to this or watching this who made those comments before, if I give you $1 million right now, chances are in a couple of years from now, you wouldn't really have any money. You'd probably spend it on a house or a car. You probably bought shit, but you would not be able to turn $1 million into 2 million, let alone $1 billion. That takes a special type of person. That's why there's these business owners and entrepreneurs and these highly intelligent people out there that want Trump in office. They're like, dude, if he could do that in the business world, he could run America, which is a corporation essentially, the same way. And that's what gives people hope because he understands what it takes. Whereas politicians, they've never run businesses. They're in the business of asking for handouts and getting a salary, right? And a whole nother subject is how do they go to DC on a 6-figure salary and leave 7, 8-figure earners? Like, that's pretty suspect. But anyway, man, I could rant on and on and on. There's a lot of information out there that you guys should look into. About 2 weeks ago, I was on a trip. I was on a plane ride. And I just started looking into this stuff for myself and doing my own research. The main thing that got my attention is Casey and Callie Means, who are backing up RFK. I'm wearing the Make America Healthy Again shirt. I've never seen politicians be such strong advocates for children's health specifically the food that we're feeding them. I've never heard Biden, Harris, any Democrat, Obama, nobody in history get on stage behind a podium and say, we need to change the food that our children are eating. We are killing our children. Our children are becoming sick and dependent on pharmaceuticals. They're having more incidents of cancer. Obesity is through the roof. Our kids psychologically and mentally are being fucked by these poisons in the foods, the dyes, the additives, the seed oils. The list goes on and on. I'm like, dude, this is a guy who really cares. Then to see him join forces with Trump, it's like, man, these guys, they want to do good for our country. They're talking about having no wars and having peace, improving the economy, changing the food that our kids are eating. Like, this is the real change that we need. And American people are seeing this and they're going, wow, they're different. They're different. They're not bought out. They're not just giving you some phony line. They're not scripted. They're not actors. Like, they're speaking from the heart. And you can feel it. And here's the thing that you got to recognize. Authenticity is the most powerful frequency you can emit. If you're authentic and real and genuine, people gravitate towards you. You might say things the wrong way sometimes. Yeah, you have flaws like Donald Trump and we all do. You might misspeak sometimes. You're not this perfectly scripted political actor. But dude, when people feel that authenticity, they're gravitating towards it. They feel it. It's an invisible force and it's magnetic. I mean, that's the whole way I built my business, is being genuine and real. And people are drawn to the message because it comes from my heart and soul. And I didn't sit there and think, what should I say to get a customer? No, it's let me speak my truth and be real and help people, man. And that's what they're doing. Like, I see Elon Musk, Donald Trump, RFK, Callie Means, Casey Means, all these people, Patrick Bet-David, Andy Frisella, Garrett White, these elite coaches, these life coaches, all coming together because we want to see America thrive. We want our children to grow up in an environment where they're put at an advantage, not a disadvantage. And we want to wake people up to the truth. And that's what it's all about. And last thing I'll say is, dude, you see a lot of people today who could be rubbing the win in other people's faces and telling them, see, we told you so. You sheep, you fucking pussies, you victims. But we're not. We're saying, dude, we love you and we want to bring you with us. We want us all to be strong together. We want to unite. We want to create a country that people are proud of. We want to create a country where everyone's thriving. We want to create a country where we're united and we're one. Doesn't matter if you're Muslim, Jewish, Catholic, Christian, black, white, woman, man. All these people are uniting throughout the whole country because they believe in the movement that's taking place. So I'm fired up, man. I've never seen a time in my life where so many people are excited to be American and excited for the future. And I hope you guys are too. And if you're not, and if you're scared or operating from anger or frustration or emotion, I'd really suggest that you take a step back, check yourself and go, man, am I just operating from pure emotion and hate and anger and being upset? Or am I like actually rationally and logically looking at the situation and analyzing it? I mean, that's what I did. And, you know, there's a term that I saw, and it's so true. And I think someone actually had a shirt and it said, make common sense common again. I mean, dude, that's all it is. It's like, I shouldn't even have to get up here and do a podcast and try to spit facts and convince you guys of what I feel. It's fucking common sense. If you took a step back and you were emotionally triggered and you could look at the situation, it's very obvious what needs to be done in this country and who's going to do it. And a lot of people can't see that truth because they're emotionally distraught and they're not psychologically flexible. They're stuck in their ways. They're stubborn. They're unable to see the truth. They think they know the truth, but they're just operating from their own beliefs and their own emotional distress. So honestly, man, I had a couple weeks of travel and I spent a lot of time on planes and in hotels, and I started doing my own research. I used Google. I used YouTube. I watched interviews. I literally did my own research, and I came to the conclusion that Donald Trump is the best candidate for our president for the United States of America. RFK, Callie Means, Casey Means, Elon Musk. It's pretty badass to think that they're going to be involved in the government, and they are all wanting to make this a better place for you and your children. What more can you ask for? Not people that say that, people that really feel it in their hearts. There's a big difference. So you guys, if this was helpful for you, share it with somebody. Today, this is just my rant. I just wanted to kind of speak what I'm feeling, share it with you guys. But let's go out and live an awesome life and let's inspire others to do the same.